I want to welcome everyone. Come on in. Hope you enjoyed the fresh-baked cookies. Well, welcome to my 2015 State of the School Address. Appreciate your coming. Today's is going to be a little bit different from some years. Actually, as I was thinking about it, they're kind of different every year. But today, as a special treat, we're going to have two movies. I know that when I was in school, it was always nice when we had movies instead of slides, so I hope you'll enjoy them. So what I'm going to do is give you highlights of the last year. Last year defined as since I gave this talk in February of 2014. Lots that's been going on. I'm only going to be able to touch on some selected things, but I hope it gives you a flavor of who we are. And, I think it's very clear what sets the School of Medicine apart. It's really our community, all of you, our faculty, our staff, and our students. And as I hope you'll hear today, you're the focus of everything that we do in the Dean's office. I'm going to first talk about new leaders. We have had an extraordinary number of leadership changes since I spoke last year. And while I know that that can be unsettling, and there are some departments that are feeling that unsettling right now, I think that our new leaders are outstanding and are bringing fresh ideas, fresh energy, and a lot of talent to their positions. I'll then talk about a handful of new initiatives, leaving out many, but just to give you a flavor. I'll talk about some special honors and gifts, again, leaving out many. And then I'll have 3 slides towards the end about some of our off-campus activities. So starting with new leaders. Of course, the big news is that Jean Washington is coming in about 2 weeks to become Chancellor for Health Affairs, President and CEO of the health system. Jean, I know, was in this room not too long ago, and many of you got to meet him and hear him. He's truly an extraordinary individual, and we were fortunate in the Chancellor search that he was not the only great candidate, but I think it's fair to say that it would have been impossible to do better than Jean. I've known him for a number of years now. We've been in some of the same circles nationally, and he is a very special guy who I think you will all enjoy. Other new leaders, first, Marion Broom, who I know is here, but I'm not sure exactly where. There we go, towards the back, is our new Dean of the School of Nursing. She arrived last summer. I've been getting to know her over the last 8 months, and I'm really delighted to have her as a partner dean. She's bringing a lot of great things to the School of Nursing, and I think a different perspective, which is what it needs at this point in its history. Tom Kaufman, as you know, is leaving but not going too far. He's going to be the new dean for Duke NUS Graduate Medical School. I'm sorry that we won't see him as much on campus, but I think Tom is going to be an outstanding dean for Duke NUS. David Zoss from our faculty recently became the president of Duke Raleigh Hospital. He's brought tremendous vigor there. It's really fun watching him begin to make his mark. And similarly, Katie Galbraith, who has been at Durham Regional, became their president, and she is moving that institution forward. We've had 4 new department chairs arrive since I spoke last. I mentioned some of them last year. Rich O'Brien, who is our new chair of neurology, came to us from Johns Hopkins last July. Alan Kirk, who is our chair of surgery, an outstanding tuba player and an extreme bicyclist, came back to us from Emory to become our chair of surgery. Ann Reed, who had also had some North Carolina history, we were very fortunate to recruit from the Mayo Clinic, where she was chair of pediatrics, and now she's ours. And then most recently, just last week, Ed Buckley became chair of the Department of Ophthalmology. I should emphasize he was not going for that job, but there was such a loud chorus of voices saying Ed is perfect that I think in the end it worked out very well. He will also continue on as Vice Dean for Education, and I'm very grateful for his taking on both big responsibilities. Our chairs are really important in this place, and one of the things that I love about Duke is how they collaborate with each other. And this is a picture just from earlier today. It was such a great scene that I had to use my iPhone and capture it. What you see is Eric Paulson, our chair of radiology, pushing a wheelchair containing Chris Willett, our chair of radiation oncology. And this was actually in the Chancellor's Suite, but I saw them coming down the hall, talking and laughing. And I just thought, what a great place where the chair of radiation oncology can call up the chair of radiology and say, I need a little help here. So this is the kind of people we've got. We have other leadership transitions. As I think you know, Sal Pizzo stepped down at the end of the last calendar year from his role as chair of the Department of Pathology, a role in which he served with distinction for more than 20 years. And we were very fortunate that David Howell stepped in as interim chair, and I very much enjoyed working with David over the last few months. We also have a chair transition that is underway in anesthesiology. Last May, Mark Newman became the president of the PDC, and Joseph Matthew very kindly stepped in as interim chair. Both of these searches are incomplete at this time, but I think that, I hope that we'll be able to make an announcement about anesthesiology, at least in the near future. We're also going to have a new department. The trustees approved last month the conversion of the Duke Division of Neurosurgery within the Department of Surgery to a full-fledged department as of July 1st of this year. John Sampson, who has very ably led the Division of Neurosurgery, will become the chair of the department in July. Other new leaders, Rafael Valdivia joined us in July when Sally Kornbluth moved over to, I guess we're the dark side, so maybe that's the light side, I'm not really sure, but moved over to campus to become provost. So Rafael has now been vice dean for 9 months or so, very plugged in. One of the appointments that he needed to make was someone to lead our graduate training. Donna Chikareshi, who has done it for a number of years now, is transitioning to her own retirement. And so Rafael recruited Chris Nikita to come in, new title, similar position as Associate Dean for Research Training. I should say that one of the other very important things that Donna did, as a number of people in this room know, was to be the dean's office person who helped us organize and think about department chair searches. And that responsibility that Donna had held has now transitioned to Cami McGann from pediatrics, and she's very much plugged in and doing an outstanding job. When Rob Califf left Duke a few weeks ago, we needed someone to be the lead PI for our CTSA, and I was very pleased that Ebony Boulware agreed to take on that responsibility. She will continue on as Chief of General Internal Medicine as well, and she will have the title of Associate Dean for, I should have written it on the slide, but something that includes the same kind of words as in CTSA. I've never been good with titles, but very important role. Other new leaders for centers that are within or involve the School of Medicine are shown here. When Rafael came in as Vice Dean for Basic Sciences, he turned the directorship of his center, Center for Genomics, sorry, it's a typo, of Microbial Systems over to John Rawls. And when Mariano Garcia Blanco left Duke to become biochemistry chair at UT Galveston, he turned over the directorship of our Center for RNA Biology to Hashim Al-Hashimi. Both John and Hashim are relatively new to Duke, and we're very fortunate to have both of them not only here, but also assuming these leadership roles relatively soon after they arrived. I think you all know that last July, the IGSP, or Institute for Genome Sciences and Policy, was dissolved. This was a deliberate move that the former provost Peter Lang and I and others thought about for a long time. The idea was that genome sciences had become such a big part of everything we do that it no longer made sense to have a separate institute devoted just to genome sciences, and in this case also policy. When the IGSP dissolved, we created from it 3 new centers, and I think that there's actually an article in the undergraduate newspaper, The Chronicle, this week or last week, about how successful that evolution to 3 new centers has been. One of those centers lives largely on the campus side, that's Science and Society, and 2 of them are in the School of Medicine, at least partially. Greg Ray is now the director of the Center for Genomics and Computational Biology, the only center that is university-wide and includes faculty both from the School of Medicine and from the campus. Now, that is that formally includes faculty from both sides. I think most and possibly all of our School of Medicine-based centers and institutes extend beyond just our school and include people from other schools. Another center that emerged was the Center for Applied Genomics and Precision Medicine. Jeff, did I get that right? Led by Jeff Ginsburg, which is within the School of Medicine, but again, with collaborators from across campus. Other leadership changes, you know about these. Rob Califf is now the Deputy Commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration, and we're thinking through the future of the portfolio of activities, very important activities that were contained in the DTMI under his leadership. And a lot of people are thinking about this. I think what I can say for sure is the things that were in there are very valuable and we want to preserve them, but we're trying to figure out, and soon Jean Washington will weigh in on this, what the best organization is going forward. Holly Lisenby, Chair of Psychiatry, recently announced that she will become the Director of Translational Research for the National Institute of Mental Health. Fortunately, we've got some lead time. She's not going to go there until the fall, and we will soon start a search for the new Chair of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences.